All right, so welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us again this week. Um, you know, today's topic is up on the screen. From startup to sellout, we're going to talk about five strategies um, strategy shifts that you can take that will 7x your home care agency's value. All right, so I mean, look, at the end of the day, this is something that we are all going to have to face. And it's better if you are a brand new agency to start thinking about these things now. Even if you're established and you're not even thinking about selling or anything or exit at this point. At some point you will be, and at some point you will have to be. Okay. So let's take a look at how we can unlock higher profits, get some more growth, and get a premium exit you know, um, from what we're talking about today. So as always, my name is Julio Briones. I'm with Briones Consulting Group, and this is our channel, the Home Care Owners Corner, where we try to provide you guys with as much value and education as possible, so you guys can succeed and one day exit in your business. Today we're going to actually reveal some parts of the playbook that our team puts in place to turn your average everyday private duty home care or home health or hospice, private duty, Medicaid, Medicare, whatever it is, uh, your startups into, potentially multi-million dollar acquisition targets. So let's go ahead and get started. If you're watching this on YouTube or listening to this on podcast, wherever your favorite podcast is, please don't forget, give us a like, leave us a comment, you know, um, some sort of a good review, and most importantly, just share it with someone that you think would benefit from hearing this episode today. All right. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. Okay. So number one, when you're building your business, you want to make sure that you have what's called a uh, what we refer to as a referral flywheel. Okay. This is something that it's going to allow you to turn every happy client, every caregiver, every professional partner into an evergreen lead generation machine. Okay. What you want to do is build momentum like flywheels. That's what it kind of does in the car. It engages with the transmission, it keeps moving, it helps the car move forward. So momentum, long term is going to get you moving more or further ahead than just taking these snapshot moments. So when we're talking about a referral flywheel, okay, it's not like a funnel where you start out with this big group and everything narrows down, you walk them through it, they get to a certain point, and that's it. That's the end of the journey. Okay, the flywheel strategy, like in a car, it stores energy. Okay, and that means that every referral partner, every client, every family, every caregiver, doctor, discharge planner, so on and so forth, will continually add force to your referral pipeline and just keep spinning and compounding. So how do we do this? Well, it works off of, three repeating phases. Phase one, you're going to attract. That's your business developer going out there, building these relationships, talking to people, setting appointments, setting meetings, and they're going out and doing all of this wonderful stuff on your behalf or on the behalf of your company. The second phase of this is delight. Okay. That means once you're out there and now referrals are starting to come in, you're talking to people. They are, these people now they're not just new prospects, but now they're clients. All right. So you're working with them, you're giving these strategy points, you're providing great service. Everybody knows caregivers can screw up. That's not neither here nor there. What we are most concerned about is in the long term. Hold on. All right. In the long term, what we're most concerned about is how you are handling things. Are you doing proper quality assurance? Are you responding to inquiries? Are you responding to complaints? What does your social proof look like? Things like social media, things like that. All right. So now that they're delighted, we want to take all of this and be able to amplify everything. So let's talk about a couple of examples about this. So let's say you have the family and you a family comes in, they sign on. So our goal is to try to capture all these positive emotions and milestone moments, okay? So we want to make sure that we are keeping our touch points in place, that we bring the caregiver to start the case, to open up the case. We are following up with them a few days in, making sure that if they're not satisfied with the caregiver, if there's anything that needs to be tweaked, that we're doing this. We have 30-day satisfaction surveys. We want to make sure we're doing progress recaps. We want to make sure that at some point we either get them to leave us a Google review, or even better, you can get a video testimonial and post it. Okay. You want to make sure that also, we're looking at a flywheel. Let's take a look at it like a wheel here. The next thing you want to make sure is that the next spoke of the flywheel is going to be caregivers. Okay, so do you have um, evangelists? Do you have your cheerleaders? Have you created them? So your goal in this is to turn great employees into a brand ambassador. Look, I've said this over and over, and those of you that have watched me for a while have heard this in webinars and and live presentations and classes. Your caregivers need to turn into your cheerleaders. All right. So what does this mean? This means you want them to feel, to follow the hierarchy of needs. You want them to feel like they belong. You want them to feel valued. You want them to make sure that you're providing for their needs. So you want to, part of it is recognition. Give them these social media shout outs. Give them spotlights in your newsletter. If you're doing press releases, make sure you have workshops so that they understand that there is a career path. Some of them might want to come into the office. Some of them might already be pursuing nursing tracks, things of that nature. We'll talk a little bit more about this down the roads, down the road, but on how to reduce the churn and things like that. But you want to definitely make sure that you have um, you know, caregivers as cheerleaders. Okay. The next spoke on this wheel is your professional partners. Our goal is to make them look good to their clients, to their bosses. And how do you do that? You're not just coming in giving a bunch of fluff. You're providing real value to them. If you are if you guys excel at fast discharges, make sure you're doing that. Don't just come in saying we can staff a case in 2 to 3 hours unless you can actually do it. So what else are we doing? We're also helping make their jobs easier. If they're in a hospital, in a skilled nursing facility, we're giving them more peace of mind at these assisted living facilities. All of these, hospice, home health, all of these potential referral partners, we have to do something that is going to make them look good because they have referred you. So how are we going to do this? So, well, it depends on the place. Some we may want to do co-branded educational events, workshops, webinars, live group sessions, things of that nature. You want to be able to provide feedback on every client that you have. If XYZ skilled nursing, so they gave us 3 clients this month. Hey, that's fantastic news. What sort of feedback are you giving them? Are you giving them readmission reports? HRRP is a big deal. Are you giving them, showing them your fall reduction plan? What is your report on falls while attended versus unattended? Meaning, when your caregiver is there versus not. So these are things you want to keep in mind and start moving forward. And then last spoke of this flywheel is your community visibility. So, how are you staying on top of mind without spending a whole bunch of money on Google Ads or social media? Well, we're doing things like getting local. Let's take a look at that little league team, that soccer team, the cheerleading squad. Let's look at volunteer days. Let's look at possibly doing newsletters. Trying to get a write a guest column. We want to make sure that we are doing these things in a strategic way, and things that will on unintentionally, or actually if you're doing it strategically, should be pretty intentional, but you want to make sure that everything you do, whether it be these digital newsletters, whether it be these community events, whether you're participating in volunteer days, that everything leads to some sort of social media post, to some sort of, maybe news article, a press release, something that gets your image out there, because your end goal is that if that family is sitting in the emergency room or sitting in the hospital or skilled nursing with their loved one. They've just been told that the loved one has to go home with someone. When they sit on their phone or tablet or whatever device they're using and they type in home care in whatever town, that you come up top of mind without spending a bunch of money on ads. Okay. So this is number one. Make sure you have a scalable referral flywheel. All right. Next, you want to make sure that you have an optimized service mix, okay, with proper margins. So, what do we mean? This means if you're walking in and you're saying, we are specialists in put in the service, Alzheimer's, stroke recovery, whatever it is, memory care, hospital at home, I don't care. Whatever it is you're saying you are a specialist in, have a program for it. Create a service offering. Outline what you're doing specifically for it. Hey, we have a specific um, peace of mind program for our clients with memory care. We got, we are CDP, uh, s- which means certified dementia practitioners. Our owners all are. We have a nurse if you're in a state that requires it, that has memory care experience. Our caregivers, we have them trained with Alzheimer's and dementia. We require 1 year of experience with Alzheimer's and dementia. We have a robust mentorship program. Great. This is what you get. This is why there's a value to it. Give it a catchy name. Figure it out. Make sure on the other side of this that you have um, that you can afford good margins. You want to make sure that that your net is not impacted while you're still giving some sort of a perceived value to your package. Okay. um, this becomes, like a quick way of evaluating the margin. Just run through, figure out what you're costing. Let's assume that you're giving a let's say a Alzheimer's package, or a 12-hour package that you're offering for a 5% discount if they sign up for the full hours. Does that 5% impact your margins so much that it's not affordable? Or is it something that you can still may be profitable or remain profitable through volume? How are you structuring it? All of these things need to come in place. All right, so now we have our scalable flywheel, and we got to make sure we have the service mix to match it along. We're going to talk about how all of this can impact the saleability of your business in a little while at the end of the presentation here. But you have to be sure, and you want to be sure that you're doing this. Okay. Whether you're brand new, and again, I don't care if you're sitting at your kitchen table and you're just thinking about going into home care, if you're in your first year and you're struggling, or if you've been in business for 5, 10, 15 years and now you're possibly thinking about one day exiting or expanding into multiple territories, whatever it is you're doing. These things are going to make your business much more attractive. Okay. And these are things that you want to make sure that you are putting in place. All right. So now, Before we move along, once again, give us a like, subscribe to our channel if you're watching us on YouTube or listening to our podcast. Share this along with your friends and anyone else that you think could benefit from this. Your support means a lot to us, and this is how we know what topics to keep discussing. Okay, let's move on. All right. So the next big thing is something that everybody who's ever heard me speak knows that I will harp on you forever on this. You want to make sure that you are building a KPI first culture. Okay. And you have something known as a single source of truth. Okay. So this is something that we help our clients with. All right. And we want to always make sure that, you need to track these KPIs. So now, the way we recommend this, okay, is that you use a 10-5-3 approach. Okay. So you want to make sure that you have 10 core business health indicators. You want to make sure that you have 5 KPIs you're tracking that are considered growth accelerators. And you want to have 3 M&A readiness metrics, okay, KPIs. Why? Well, quite frankly, like I said, there's a few people that I one particular person I'm really good friends with in the M&A world, and they always say it, whether it's through sale, retirement, shutting down, or death, you're going to exit your business. So if you at least have a plan in place, when the time comes, you're going to be able to at least get as much value out of it when the time comes. So if you start doing this from day one or whatever, even if you've been in business forever, today could be day one. You got to start tracking this stuff. All right. So what this will do, this 10-5-3 dashboard, okay, it will allow you to build out the and track certain specific things. Like for example, if we're talking about core health KPIs, what are your weekly billable hours? What's your gross margin per billable hours? Your caregiver turnover percentage, your 90-day, 30, 60, 90-day rolling. Okay. What's your client retention rate? Again, we want to take a rolling percentage over 12 months. Some of my clients, that are better with Excel and dashboards and things, they will keep a 90-day or quarterly rolling average, for retention. What's your case fill rate? So this is important, especially on if you're dealing with something that's metered, like Medicaid, Medicare, VA, things of that nature. So you have so many authorized hours versus hours staffed. When this is your miss shift ratio. Like, why are you missing them? So this will show overall how underutilized are your authorizations and how much money are you losing as a result. All right. So if you're not billing 20 hours a week because your caregiver called off or you didn't have enough caregivers or something else happened or you allowed the client to miss a shift, now that's money lost, revenue lost. All right. Overtime percentage. I harp on this a lot. Industry says 3%. I'm going to tell you, you want to keep that as a far under 1% as possible. Non-billable overtime. Okay. That is a huge red flag when it comes to it shows big gaps in your scheduling and it can eventually lead to an erosion of your overall margins. All right. So another thing you want to keep track of is what is your schedule variance. So meaning how many unfilled shifts do you have per week? If I have scheduled 1,000 hours a week with all my clients, and I'm only filling 400 of those hours, that's huge gap. I mean, it's an exaggeration. I've never seen anything that bad, but you know, um, wouldn't be surprised if one day I did. Your business is going to go under if you can't fill those shifts. So your schedule variance actually makes a big difference. Okay, so days of It's your DSO, your day sales outstanding. So, meaning, what is your cash flow looking like? So you're sending your billing out on time. What's your account receivables look like? How that can impact greatly your business, not just from a business perspective, but also from a peace of mind perspective. Liquidity stress can can kill you. I've had agencies, clients that have had wonderful, high on paper, high producing agencies, and they've had to shut down because they weren't keeping track of their accounts receivable. They weren't invoicing on time to Medicaid and things of that nature. Or they were invoicing on time, but they weren't getting paid, and they did not have a contingency plan. Cash flow is huge, okay, when it comes to home care. This is why you'll hear me stress, and there's a video on my YouTube channel about this, or the audio on a podcast. It's about deposit strategy for private pay. All right, you want to make sure that you have this. You also want to track things like your incident rate and your regulatory compliance. What percentage are you in compliance? And out of every 1,000 hours, how many safety and service complaints have you had or safety and service issues? All right. So those are 10 of the core health indicators that I would recommend. And when we're talking about growth accelerators, we're talking about your referral conversion rate, new inquiry to admission ratio, average revenue per new client, recruitment funnel efficiency. So, do you have bottlenecks in your in from applicants to hires? What's that looking like? Your digital cost per acquisition. So again, how much are you spending on things like Place for Mom, agingcare.com, Karen Homes, Google pay per click, and any other pay per click service out there? That all of that can have great impacts on your overall margin. Too high of a cost per acquisition can be damaging. And then three of the, I would say, and again, give me your thoughts on this. If you're watching this, do you agree? Do you disagree? What are these are the three M&A readiness metrics that I think even if you're a brand new agency, you need to be able to track. All right. Number one, your margin stability. Although, this we can look at it as EBITDA. Okay. Over the course of 12 months, you should have less than plus or minus 2%. Right. So we need predictable cash flow and everything else. If you are on a growth track, that's fine. You can have it go up as much as you need to. But at some point, when you're new, you're obviously going to see this bigger instability. But once you're a stable company, year two, year three, on moving forward, while we will see predictable growth, it needs to be steady, predictable growth. If we're going to take a look at flat, no growth, but you're maintaining, then that variance shouldn't be more than 2 to 5%. Okay, because people, especially when the time comes to sell, buyers, they want predictable cash flow. They want to be able to see what's going on. This way, it'll help them better figure out how long before they will have their return on their investment. How long before they'll be profitable? Things of this nature. All right, so you want to make sure you're tracking that. Number two, you want to make sure that you have a solid client diversification ratio. All right. No single client should ever be more than 20% of your revenue. Okay. Keep that in mind. If you are billing, and I hear this and it really aggravates me from some of my fellow consultants out there, or coaches, or whatever you want to call what we do. All right, there's other people out there that will tell you, yeah, you just got to get 1 to 2 24-hour clients a month. Here's the problem with that. Yes, that'll get you into the $1 million range pretty quickly. You only need a handful. Fantastic. The reality is, if you have that top heavy a business, and let's say, because this happened and actually happened to a client of mine late end of last year, they were very top heavy. They lost 5 clients in a 2-week period. If you you got to figure if we take a look at some of the averages for private pay, let's put it at about 32 to $35 per hour on average. Now you're looking at 24 to $26,000. Let's split the difference, call it $25,000 per month in revenue. To lose 5 in the same month, that's a huge loss. It's $125,000 in revenue. Yes, you can go out there if you have a good pipeline, you can make it up. But psychologically, what do you think that will do to you to lose that much revenue at once? Give me your thoughts in the comments and let me know. You ever lost 100,000 in revenue in a month? And how, first time that happened, how big was the impact to you mentally? The other issue is if I'm looking at buying your business and I see that you're very top heavy like that, that you have two or three clients generating 20, 40, 50% of your revenue, that's going to increase the risk in my mind to this deal. And I'm going to offer you a lower amount. We're going to try to negotiate that down, right? And then the final one, documentation readiness. So, how compliant are you? Do you have all of your financials ready? Do you have your HR documentation? Is all your clinical SOPs up to date? Is everything located and available? All right. Do you have quick access? Are you constantly doing this? Meaning, are you reviewing all your documentation? Are you making sure you have all? Are you self-auditing, or are you bringing in companies like ours to come in and do these audits for you? The benefit of this is we always recommend at the very least you should have a complete and thorough audit done of your business once a year. Um, I have clients that do it twice, but I'd say at least once a year you should have somebody come in and just fully audit your business. Take a look at what's going on, take a look at your financials, take a look at your HR, or make sure you have your SOPs up to date, all of this stuff, and that you keep it in a central place, central portal that you can have this. This is going to be very good overall. It shows that you have operational discipline. And if you are trying to sell, having everything at the ready and everything up to date and constantly maintained, it'll shorten the due diligence timelines and it'll help you avoid deal fatigue. Okay. All right. So again, let us know. What are your thoughts? What are you doing? Are you keeping track of any of these or of all of these? And how is it that have you seen this impact your business? If did you even know what some of these KPIs are? I get that question. I'm like, oh my goodness, I didn't even know what this was. All right. So once again, leave us a comment below. Don't forget to give us a like, share this with somebody that could benefit from it, and overall, just subscribe to our channel. All right. So let's move along here. The next thing we want to talk about is creating a talent pipeline so that we can lower churn and just generally add value to a deal. Like this is just one of those things. All right. So the sorry, give me a so what we want to do is things like you want to have clearly defined and structured onboarding. Every time you onboard a new caregiver, a new office staff member, you want to make sure that you're following the same process. Create a checklist. I love checklists. Create yourself a mock employee chart so that you know exactly the order everything is supposed to be in. I don't care if you're using an EHR, if you're using paper classification charts. It make sure it's structured. Offer to your caregiver pool micro trainings, just these small trainings they can do on their own. A lot of you are using training platforms like Relias, Care Academy, home what is it, Stat, Homecare training. There's a bunch of them out there. By all means, use whichever ones you want. Just make sure that in the end, you're offering not just your requirements when it comes to training, that you're giving them an option for them to learn extra. That also means every once in a while, you should have them come in and take a look at, come in and do a small training with you. It's career advancement. Okay. Meaning, if you know you have a group of caregivers that may want to learn scheduling, they may want to come in from working out in the field. Or do a day where you're offering a workshop completely free to them. Hey, if you guys want it, it's voluntary, not mandatory. But we'll go over key principles of scheduling. We'll go over how to use whatever software you're using for scheduling. We're going to have a day of sales training for those who want to possibly look into sales training, inside sales, outside sales. We take do little classes like this because it's going to do a couple of things. Number one, it's going to empower your caregiver staff and make them feel appreciated, like we were talking about earlier. The other thing this stuff is going to do is, it's going to give you access to talent pool. Like, let's say you have a great marketer, and something happens, some other agency offers them more money, you guys have a falling out, they get hit by a truck, you never know. Meteor falls out of the sky, something could happen. So what this means to you is that now you're out of a marketer, but if you've been look creating this talent pipeline and looking at people and training them from within, and you see people that are showing interest in this, now you have an opportunity to have somebody who knows your brand and possibly bring them in to do that. Do recruitment training seminars. Do all of these little things. You don't have to do them every day, but you do them once a month or once a quarter. And it shows your staff that you have these training opportunities. Things like this, along with something called a stay bonus. So instead of putting out the sign, hey, we offer $1,000, $500 to sign on, I'm not a big fan of that, but I am a big fan of a stay bonus, meaning, hey, you made it to 90 days. Congratulations. Here's a $100 gift card. Hey, look, you made it to the 6 month mark. Here's a $300 bonus in your paycheck. And then every year you can give them like 500 bucks, $700, whatever it is in their paycheck as a thank you. And you do that on their anniversary. These stay bonuses, micro training, structured onboarding, open communication, quality assurance, all of these things combined are is a framework that you can actually cut your caregiver turnover in half in some cases. I've seen clients implement these things, monthly recognition programs like Employee of the Month, social media tracks, all of these things that they've been able to reduce in some cases. I got one client that really put everything in place a couple of years ago. They put in everything in place to get that retention up, and they reduced their caregiver turnover by almost 75%, like in a few months, just because their caregivers started seeing the shift and they started referring other people. It was fantastic for them. I mean, you're always going to have people that leave. I get it, but if you can do things to make them feel better, then you're good. Also low churn rate for those of you that are in the or thinking about selling potentially. They can actually boost EBITDA overall. You know, um, by not having that much turnover, you don't have to spend so much on recruiting spend, and therefore, it gives you a more solid and predictable and established business. So it's something that as a buyer, if I see you have a good solid caregiver pool and you have a good retention strategy, these are things that in the end are going to make me feel more comfortable buying your business and not feel so much that I'm questioning the price that you're asking for it. All right. So once again, let us know if you have any tips, tricks, or tactics that you're using that can help potentially reduce your caregiver churn. All right. What are you doing to improve retention? And once again, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. You know, this is something, as I said, that it helps us understand what it is that you guys want to watch, and it helps us provide more content. And also let us know. We Summer's coming up. I'm probably going to move away from doing these on Saturdays. Those of you that are watching, let us know what day of the week you would rather do this. And also, if you're watching this on YouTube, do you want us to start streaming these live on YouTube as well? Let us know, and we'll do our best to accommodate, and we'll take it from there. So now, our next and final main point, but not our the end of the video, is we want to make sure that you understand that you start your due diligence prep day one. Oh, but Julio, I haven't even gotten my application back. Why should I start doing this? Well, because at the end of the day, the earlier you start with good habits, the better you're going to be at maintaining them over time. You have clean financials, you have clear SOPs, you create new ones when new processes come in, you have compliant HR files, you have all of these processes in place where everybody's used to it. You can build a culture of accountability, and you have a culture where everybody's always on. And you're doing your own internal audits. You're bringing in an outside company to do audits 6 months or annually. If you're doing all of these things, you can avoid a lot of red flags that will cut your valuation down. All right, and you will have a lot of other issues that you can avoid, and just in general, whether it's growth, a sale, expansion, with you, if you have these procedures in place, and if you have this habit and you build this culture of accountability and of performance, look, at the end of the day, all of this is going to help you. It's going to help you run your business more successfully. Nobody ever said, "Oh, my business failed because because I didn't have any violations and everybody knew what they were doing and everyone performed at their peak." Nobody ever calls me because they're performing at a 100% uh, efficiency or effectiveness. Things happen when people start to let things go by the wayside and things get out of control. So, what are some red flags that you should look at? One, I'm going to say, take a look at your revenue versus your scheduling software data. Are you systematically billing? Are you billing? Are you overbilling? Are you underbilling? Are you making sure every client's gotten paid and the funds deposited? That's a big red flag. So one of the things you could do there is, for example, run EVV to billing variance reports. Just do it, run it, figure it out, and try to create a zero balance or zero tolerance reconciliation SOP. All right. Also, again, and I'll just keep talking about this. You want to audit at least once, at least every 12 months. Another big red flag you want to take a look at is how we talked about this earlier. How top heavy are you? Do you have um, one single payer source or a single client generating most of your revenue? You gotta figure out how to diversify that. And if you do have like a single payer source, like let's say you're doing staffing and you're contracted with a large assisted living, make sure you have multi-year agreements with them. Make sure you have things that give you guaranteed revenue. And because once you have these contracts in place, it makes it better. High caregiver turnover, that's another big red flag. You know, um, because restaffing costs, they can really reduce the valuation of your business. It can actually bring your EBITDA, it can reduce it one to two times. Okay, if you have too high of a turnover, one of the things people don't want to see. You want to make sure that you don't have a you that your AR is up to date. All right, you want to make sure your cash flow is tight. You want to make sure that you don't have anything over 45 days, that you don't have any accounts receivables more than 90 days. You want to make sure that you're like, if it's private pay, if people early pay or if they owe you this money and you're negotiating back and forth, do whatever it is you need to do to make sure that these people are just cleaning up their debt. Take legal action where necessary, but you want to make sure that your AR report is clean and that your cash flow is tightly monitored. All right. Make sure that you have all your Medicaid, Medicare, government payer source pay that are everything is done so that you're paid through EFT, electronic funds transfer, direct deposit, also known. All right. You want to make sure that you have that. Um, one of the ways this can impact you, if you have certain things in place, it can just be a problem. Another huge issue, and we just talked about this a little bit, you want to make sure that you have everything, all your clinical, HR, operational SOPs on paper. You want to make sure you have this. There's the thing is that when anybody walks into a business, I know I hate this. This drives me bananas as a consultant. I walk in and I'm like, okay, let me take a look at your policies, your SOPs. Oh, I have it all in my head. That's not great. You want to make sure you have templates for any process that's recurring, plan of care, intakes, things like that. You want to make sure you have an SOP library, binders, because not everybody likes to look on computers, and that it's digitized and you have it like on a Google Drive, or if you have some sort of other platform that makes this easy, especially if you're multi-location. If you're multi-location, then you want to make sure you have a solid platform for onboarding and SOPs and things of that nature. All right. So all of these things, I'm going to say probably the last biggest ones are, overtime, too high of non-billable overtime, too many regulatory citations, and that can easily be avoided by just maintaining your paperwork readiness, making sure that you don't have any labor litigation. So again, get these audits done. And those are some of the things that we want to talk about. Okay. Oh, excuse me. All right. So finally, because we're coming up on an hour here, let's take a look at our viewer question of the week. All right, this one, I didn't. This came about in a conversation I had, and so I said I was going to talk about it, but they didn't want me to bring it up. So this week's viewer posted question is, what is our go-to method for handling caregiver call-offs on a holiday weekend? This actually came up last night with one of my clients because we got Memorial Day coming up. Look, here's the very simple way to do this. Make sure that your schedulers earlier in the week, or if they don't already have the habit, they should be calling to see who's available. Remind people that it's the holiday weekend, find out who's going to be available and have a list. Verify everybody's shifts on Friday because the holiday is Monday. Make sure everybody's shifts is verified, make sure everybody has what they're supposed to, and that your things are in place the way they need to be. Okay. um, Friday, before you guys leave for the day, make sure that you're calling. Again, double checking, and make sure that whoever's doing on call for the weekend has a list, not just dolling for dollars, that they have a verified list of who is going to be available. If you are covering, let's say, 20 shifts over the weekend, make sure you have a list of at least 10 caregivers for unexpected call outs, and those people that, oh, I you didn't call me this morning, so I went to the barbecue or whatever. Just make sure you have all of this in place. That, hands down, is probably the best and easiest way to handle call offs on a holiday shift. Offer bonuses for people to be available. For those that are be available, make sure that you have some sort of reward system, and be prepared to take a lower margin on the holiday weekend by offering more money for those shifts if you need to, as a last resort. All right. So thank you again, and thank you for joining us. This has been, from startup to sellout, 5 strategy shifts that can 7x your home care agency value. All right. And for those of you watching, don't forget, give us a like, share, and subscribe. The more people watch our videos, the more that we know that the topics that we're discussing are valuable to you guys. And again, feel free, don't ever hesitate. Leave us a comment, whether you're watching us on Facebook, whether you're watching this on the LinkedIn replay or YouTube, or wherever you're listening to podcasts. Shoot us an email, do whatever you want to do, but we will happily cover whatever topics you guys want, and we will happily go into detail about things. Now, I do want your guys' feedback. I'm going to be putting out a poll on link for a poll on our YouTube channel and on our Facebook group. Please let us know what day you want us to move to, because again, summer's coming, and I have I have children, some of them on the younger side, so I don't want to spend every Saturday doing this. Didn't mind it in the winter, don't mind it when kids are in school so much, because we always have stuff to do. Um, but in the summer, we like to travel a lot, so I'd like to know when you guys want to do this. All right, you guys have a great rest of your day, and don't forget, take care of each other, and we will talk to you soon.